Okay, so Sudhanshu, we are live. I'm just going to give you the URL of the YouTube. Yes, so we'll wait for another 1-2 minutes max, so that people will join and then they will be able to see. Usually it takes some time for notification. Now 4 people have joined. Ayush Sharma. What is this? Cocky op. Hello, guys. Okay, now people are joining. The notification is gone. Sudhanshu, you can unmute. Sahil, you can also unmute. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
This Sahil, are some of your friends pinging in the chat? I guess.
What's the name?
Ayush Sharma,
I
Ishan
think there are
Gaur.
many. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are your friends, right? So they have a nickname for you. Hmm?
Mm, yeah.
because not today, like everyone will get to know what your nickname.
There's so many people who are who, who are messaging. At least they know your nickname. At least. So guys, hit like as you're joining. I can see many people joining. Yeah, it's gonna be fun today. Love from another statistician from Kolkata. Amazing. Hello everyone. Let's start. So okay, nice nicknames are coming. I think you should not read the messages in short if you're opening any. Okay, because I saw right why they are saying like that. Okay, maybe because of
And everyone, right? So in series, they are talking about the same thing.
okay. 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 So welcome, guys. We have with us Sahil. Sahil is doing his Master of Statistics in IIT Kanpur. He's in his final year. So again, this is just a mock interview to. He basically wanted to attend the interview and let's see what all kind of questions we will ask. And as usual, we'll ask questions whatever Sahil will say. Again, we have our another host, Sudhanshu Kumar. Again, today again, so there are some people they're saying that Krish sir, you also ask some question. Always Sudhanshu sir is asking. So if Sudhanshu sir give me some time to ask, I'll definitely ask. But it's okay. I will be the more like coordinator like kind of thing, and Sudhanshu can ask any number of questions, right? Mm, okay, many people are sending you wishes from DU, Sahil. Okay, Sahil, let's begin without wasting any time.
Yeah.
First of all, Sahil, introduce about yourself. And what all things you're good at, about your projects that you want to do, or you're doing, some interesting things about your life, and many more things. Yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
sure. So, hello everyone. I am a final year postgraduate student at IIT Kanpur. I did my bachelor's from Ramlala College, Delhi University. So, this summer I interned with the Spark Foundation as data science and analytics intern. That time I was also working on my project, my special project, I should say, which was the solar flare prediction. And apart from that, I am currently department placement coordinator at of Department of Mathematics and Statistics at IIT Kanpur. Uh, uh, Apart from that, I love playing chess. I was also the chess captain at my bachelor's college.
Okay, just a second. Sahil, can you just put your headphones near your
Sure.
mouth so that
It's fine now.
yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Sahil, any interesting thing that you have done in statistics? We'll start with statistics only. Any interesting thing that you found out? No, something new since you're doing a master's, probably in your thesis or something like any kind of projects. What is the final year project that you have selected?
Actually, in time series model, I'm working on time series project, which is not yet completed. And apart from that, the most interesting project I have done till now is the solar flare prediction project, which I have mentioned in my CV.
Okay. Uh, so as soon as time series, when you're saying right, so Danshu ears are doing like this, so he'll start firing you questions now. So Danshu, please, yes, proceed. So Danshu.
Okay, fine, Sahil. So, as I can see, right? So you have done MSc in statistics. You are doing as of now. Your CGPA is 7.1 CPI,
Yeah,
right? That you have. Fine. So let's try to talk about statistics in the first place. Yeah.
yeah,
So let's start with the very common question, right? The simple one. Generally, what happens is whenever we talk about like a sample, right?
yeah,
So at that point of the time, generally we used to take n minus one in a denominator. So if we are
yeah.
talking about, let's suppose variances, if we are talking about, let's suppose like a standard deviation, right? So what is a reason behind that? What is the logic behind that one?
Okay, so
I think
basically, when
that's
we
a common question, right? So
yeah,
we can start from there. Yeah, go ahead.
so when we calculate the sample variance, we, as you said, we usually take n minus one in the denominator. It
Hmm.
the reason behind that, we say that while calculating the sample variance, generally underestimates the variance somehow, and this has been proved using some experiments. So that's why we are reducing the value of the denominator to somehow that it will become closer to the population variance.
But how you're going to prove it basically? How this one is going to make this kind of effect? So do you know something which can prove these things? Like, okay, fine. So with the help of this and this, like a sample, so we can try to prove it. Do you know some algorithm? Do you know some kind of approach
No,
where these things will be
the
proven?
approach behind that, I'm not familiar with this, but I just know yeah, it somehow reduces underestimates the value, and
Have
that's
you
why we yeah.
Okay? Have you heard of like a Bessel correction?
No,
Okay.
that I haven't heard.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay, second question for you, okay, so as you were talking about, it's a n minus one, and just to uh, normalize these things. Okay, so the second question for you is again from the statistics, like. Generally we try to use, I will say, central limit theorem, right? So can
Yeah.
you please tell me a situation, can you please tell me a scenario where I can apply a central limit theorem effectively and I will be able to get some kind of a correct statistical result out of it?
Okay, so there are so many things interrelated with that. Like first, what is central limit theorem? So
Mm-hmm.
central limit theorem is basically, suppose we have a big population,
Mm-hmm.
and if we are drawing some samples from
Okay.
them and
Okay.
take the mean,
Mm-hmm.
and if we take continuously taking the samples and finding the mean, so
Okay.
that sampling distribution of the sample mean, basically it will become normal distribution. It will become normally distributed all the values.
Yeah, so
So
this is what central limit theorem says basically,
yes,
right?
and that's why the normal distribution is some sort of popular. Like
Okay. So in what in all places? So can you please tell me the uses of central limit theorem? Because definition wise, most of us knows the definition of central limit theorem, right? So if we are going to draw a sufficient amount of sample, and if we are going to take a mean of it, so for sure a mean of the samples is going to show me a normal distribution curve. That is fine.
hello.
But what is the uses? So how I'm going to utilize those things? So suppose if I have to apply these things into a data science along with the data, so can you please tell me some kind of a references where I will be able to apply and I will be able to get a significant outcome?
From central limit theorem.
Yes, yeah. So we
Mm,
have a concept, but for sure, we are supposed to apply those concepts. We used to study this central limit concept, right? But where we are going to apply it?
okay, can I get a couple of seconds to think? Actually, I have never thought about it.
Yeah, because before like understanding any kind of a mathematical expression, we have to think about it, like where we can apply those things, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, what is the meaning of like mugging up this entire I'll say like a definition of central limit theorem? There is no need of central limit theorem in that case. Okay, fine, forget about it. So let's talk about
Sudhanshu, let him think, not a problem. We can
Yeah.
give him two
yeah,
minutes.
you can
Yeah, yeah,
take
sorry.
time. I don't have any kind of a issue. It's fine.
And
Okay, so
so
let's
like let me try share.
okay,
I
fine.
think
You can take 30
so.
seconds. I don't have any issue. Yeah.
Okay, so suppose there are so many statistical tests we can use on the data which follows normal distribution somehow. If it is not normally distributed, then we can't use those statistical tests. So I think that's where we can use central limit theorem. Am I right?
What are the outcomes of the statistical test? What kind of statistical test do you do?
Like suppose in for the parametric test, we assume that the data we are working on should be follow some distribution normally distributed. So if the data is not normally distributed, then all many tests automatically not in use if the data is not normally distributed. So I think uh, central limit theorem can work in this field.
Okay, what are the
Okay,
outcomes
so
of normal distribution?
okay, so you okay,
Outcomes mean
okay.
When you say the data is normally distributed, what are the
yes.
outcomes or what are the final things you're making out of or assuming out of that
Hello,
specific data?
hello,
Can you hear me,
hello.
Sahil? Can you
Yeah,
hear me,
my,
Sahil?
my
Yeah.
net connection is not so good. I think.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So listen to me. Suppose if you have a data which is normally distributed,
Yes.
what are the assumptions do you usually make from that particular data? Tell me something.
Okay.
Some assumptions.
So you mean properties of normal distribution?
Yeah, assumptions like, okay, my data is normally distributed. So these are the assumptions that I'm considering with respect to that data.
Okay. So a large portion of the data points should lie near the mean.
Okay.
Okay, and near the mean, and there should be symmetric data. All the values left side equal to the right side values,
Okay.
and
And these are the properties you are saying, but
yeah.
assumption from that data, okay, you are saying symmetric, fine.
Okay.
Some more
I'm
points.
not
Come on.
I'm not getting about from the assumption
Assumptions.
part.
Assumptions basically means that, okay, I have this data which is normally distributed that I will
Yeah.
definitely consider this 4 points, some of the 4 to 5 points about that particular data set.
Okay, so can you please tell me one point and
Okay.
so I will get
I'll tell you one point.
yeah.
All my data will be most of the more than 96% of my data will be ranging between three standard deviation.
Okay, okay. Oh, so there's okay. So that's a rule about 68,
Uh,
95, 99%
Now
rule.
you are saying it. So yeah,
Okay.
understand. Now you cannot ask an interviewer. You tell me
Oh,
one point.
sorry.
I'll tell the remaining
Oh,
point.
sorry. Sorry about that.
Okay, so fine, Sahil, one more question for you, right? So, let's suppose if I have like data is given to me, right?
Yeah.
And statistically, if someone is telling me that, okay, fine, so let's do some kind of a statistical analysis,
Mhm.
and let's try to find out anomalies inside the data, right?
Yeah.
So, what will be my approach in that case? So, can you please list down like a 5 to 6 like approach, different kind of
By
approach?
anomalies, what we mean?
So outliers, you can say. Yeah. So outliers, if I have
Hello.
to find out that, okay, fine, so like what is am I audible to you, Sahil?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So let's suppose if like some data set is given to me, and some person is trying to ask me that, okay, fine, so let's do a statistical analysis, and with the
Hmm.
help of statistical analysis, only with the help of statistical analysis, we have to find out that, okay, fine, so whether we have outliers, or we have like
Okay, okay.
some kind of a data which is not acceptable one. So what will be your approach, and what is the approach that you are going to take to make those data as a normally distributed data set? So again,
For
so like
for
a approach to find out the outliers, as well as approach to handle those outliers. So what will
okay.
be like your test? What kind of a test you are going to
So
perform?
one test we can use is z-test.
Okay. So
Uh,
how?
Z-test basically suppose for all the data points,
Okay.
we subtract the mean of all the data points and divide by standard deviation, and
Okay.
then we see whether the value is greater than 3 or less than 3. As Krishna said, if it is greater than 3, so it means it doesn't lie within the third standard deviation of the data. That means 99 point. It is not one from the 99.73% of the
So
data.
the Z that you are talking about actually, so Z
Yeah.
is equal to data minus mu divided by a standard deviation. So basically
Yes.
that formula or that statistics we can use to like a sift data, or maybe I can say that to like change a data set from a normal distribution to a standard like a normal distribution.
No, that we are finding whether the data is
What is
outside the range of. Yeah.
what is okay, that is fine. So even without converting this data, I will be able to do it, right? So what
Yeah,
is
we can find IQ by IQR method,
yeah,
interquartile
actually
range.
is one of the way, but the approach,
Yeah.
the first approach that you talked about, right? So basically, even
Yeah.
if I'm not going to take that approach, that is fine because I'm not doing anything except changing a scale of the data, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
just tell me. Yeah. So what is the other approach that you can think of?
To finding the outlier, right?
Yes, yeah. So I have to like find outliers inside the data set, and then I have to handle it. So approach to find out and approach to handle the outliers.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes, I'll go ahead.
Sorry for the net connection. Yeah. So uh, IQR is wrong. Like I said about the IQR, so IQR is not.
No,
Okay.
no,
So what
it's
about box plot? We can, for finding the outliers, we can use box plot or IQR method or Z-score. There are three
Okay.
things we can use.
Okay.
And
Anything
for
else? Anything else that you can think of in terms of statistics?
apart from IQR, Z-score, and box plot,
Yes. Yeah.
there for statistical technique, I can't
Skewness
think
test.
of other than these.
Skewness
Like
test.
yes, skewness test. I about the skewness. If there is a possibility that data can be positively scored, negatively skewed, and maybe those outliers is significant. So that is the case.
Okay. Okay. And so fine. So you have listed down a couple of the approach by which I will be able to find it. Now
Hmm.
tell me what is the approach to handle these outliers? What I should do.
Okay.
So when I will be able to get the outliers, so what I'm supposed to apply on top of that?
We can remove those outliers,
How?
like
Remove
from.
means you are saying that like I'm supposed to discard those data. This is what you
Yes,
mean?
yes.
So do you think that like in every cases this is something which is going to work? So simple discarding a data. So
Uh,
am I not going to lose a like am I not going to lose like the data set which may represent some kind of relations?
yes, if the data is important, then we shouldn't discard those outliers. Those
But
outliers will be important.
so yeah, so just tell me some of the approach where I'll not have to like discard the data, but still I will be able to handle it.
yeah.
What
Without
do you?
discarding, how will you handle that?
Yeah.
Okay, so suppose I am supposing that the data is skewed, and that's why we are having an outlier. Suppose in a salary, suppose the person salary of a person, so it can be positively skewed, and there can be an outlier which is significant.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm saying that how will you treat? Sudhanshu's question is
Hello.
that how you will treat that outliers. Okay, Sahil, just listen to the
Yeah.
question again.
Yeah.
Sudhanshu's question is that how will you treat the outliers
Hmm.
without removing it? This is a simple question.
Okay. Okay. So we can change the data. We can normalize the data.
Yes, normalization is one technique, and some more.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. So
Actually, this time I can only think of
okay.
normalization.
Yeah. So Sahil, just tell me one thing. So when you say normalization, right?
Yeah.
So can you please give me a particular example by which you can explain me a meaning of normalization? So what do you understand by exact term normalization? Because the like normalization term is a vague term, I'll say.
Yeah.
Right? So many people like blindly just use a term called as normalization,
Yeah.
right? So what is your understanding about this term normalization? I'm just looking for some example, and with
Okay.
that,
So
I'm looking for answer.
like in salary case,
Okay.
we have the salary of a person of suppose we have 100 data points, and that data point represents salary. Okay. So if the data sorry, I forgot the question again, please. Sorry, can you
No,
please repeat the
I'm
question?
just asking that what is what is your
Also
understanding of
normalization. Yeah, yeah.
normalization?
Sorry. So suppose we have data point which is whose range is so vague, and we want to put the data in a certain range. Suppose like in normalization, we put the data between the range 0 and 1. So putting the data in a certain range.
Then what is the difference between normalization and standardization?
So standardization, in standardization, we basically say that our data will follow uh, uh, have me hello yeah. So data will have mean 0 and variance 1. That both techniques can be used in separate cases. So in suppose normalization, as I said, if we want our data to be in range, suppose 0 and 1 in a particular range, we use normalization. And standardization, if our data points has at different scales.
Standardization or data point is in different scale.
I think you should recheck those definitions that you are talking about actually. Fine.
Okay.
Moving ahead. So like let's talk about I'll say like a difference between so again a very simple question, a very common one, right? So now like what is so difference between Z statistics and T statistics, and in which case which one I'm supposed to use and which one I'm not supposed to use?
Actually, they both do the same work, but the difference between where we can use what is if the data points is large. Suppose the data point is n data points and n is greater than 30. So basically, we can use z test if the data is greater than 30, and t test if the data is less than 30. We can always use t test in this case.
Okay, so any other differences?
Mm, sorry, I can't think of any other difference.
Can you please talk about like, okay, fine. So in terms of number of sample, you have given this definition, but
Yeah.
can you please talk about the difference between Z and T in terms of standard deviations? Like, let's suppose if I'm giving you standard deviations of a populations or something like that. So can you please talk about, or can you please try to compare this Z and T in terms of a standard deviation? Do you have any idea about that? Fine. In terms of like a sample, like a number of the samples. So yes, people used to like compare these things lesser than 30 or greater than 30. So in this way,
Yeah.
this is a very normal comparison, right? So like, do you understand anything in terms of standard deviations? How we can like differentiate these two?
In terms of standard deviation,
Yes. Yeah.
I think in t-test we calculate there are different kinds of t-tests, like a pair t-test for mm, pair of means, two pairs of samples, and in standard deviation I think we use the calculate to the variance or standard deviation of sample, I think, or mean. Sorry, I hello
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Go. Go. Feel free like to answer. Yeah.
hello
Yeah, we
sorry,
can hear you.
it's always good to not say anything. I can't recall properly.
Okay, okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's like always fine to like accept that you can revise and then you can come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is like one thing from the statistics. Now, I'll ask a couple of more questions from maybe a puzzles and statistics as well. But
Okay.
let's try to understand your machine learning concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
So generally in machine learning, right? So now let's suppose if I'm talking about a regression, so like we used to consider root mean squared error.
Yeah.
Agree? Yeah,
Yeah.
root mean squared
Yeah.
error. So why like a root mean square is sometimes called as a worst, I'll say like calculations, error calculations in terms of regressions. Any idea?
So RMS is called as worst scenario.
Yeah, so basically it's called as a worst error calculation sometimes in case of a regression. So why? Do you have any idea?
Uh, okay, so I can try. Like in my project, in time series project,
Okay.
uh, I forecasted some values and calculated the RMSE for the test set and for the forecasted values. So
Okay.
the data under consideration was the gold prices. Okay. So gold prices can vary. Suppose today's gold price is 32,000 and tomorrow's gold price will be 34,000 or 32,000. So in
Okay.
forecasting, there will be some difference in the forecasting and the test cases. So if we calculate the RMSE, there will not be any certain range or that we should consider that it is good or that is bad. So I think that might be the case.
Okay. So can you please again like give me some other example and then try to explain me the same thing?
Okay, so I said suppose the data under consideration plays important role. If our data is suppose 0 to 100 or 0 to 5, vary between 0 to 5,
Okay.
another data is 0 to 10,000, 0 to 10,000, or 0 to or 10,000 to 1 lakh,
Okay.
and then we predict our values. So
Mm-hmm.
in both the scenarios, the RMSE will vary a lot, and they signify both the same thing. Suppose in first case I am having a RMSE around 2 or 5, and in
Okay.
the second case I am having RMSE of 1500 or 1000.
Okay.
So we can't say looking at the RMSE whether it is good or bad.
Okay, yeah. So in that case, what I'm supposed to do? So what is the probable solutions for like this particular situations where you have one data variation in some other scale and then another data variation in some different scale? So what are the solutions? What I should do in that case?
So basically, we can feature our scales. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
What I'm saying?
feature
Yeah,
scaling
feature
you're
scaling.
talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I can try to talk about standardizations or maybe like
Yeah.
so-called normalizations that
Yeah.
everyone uses as a very common word, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now, so the next question is let's suppose if I'm talking about maybe logistic, right?
Okay.
So can you please talk about error functions or loss function in logistic?
So I have used a square error loss function in
Which one?
logistic. Squared error loss function.
Okay, a squared error loss function into a
So it
logistics
is
you have used.
logistic, not in logistic. It can be used in logistic, I think.
Logistic is a
Yeah.
classification.
Sorry. It can't be used in logistic.
Okay, so yeah, what is a
Loss
like a
function.
loss function, error function that you have used in logistic?
Okay. Yeah, I know. Just give me a second to think. Yeah. So loss function can be the predicted value. It
Okay.
can be the predicted value minus, suppose our logistic regression is, we use sigmoid, I think, sigmoid function, and the output of it, I can't recall. Sorry. I think it should be that.
It must be some kind of a probability function, right? Because we are
Yeah.
trying to talk about the classifications over here, and for sure, so we are supposed to find out that okay, fine. So whether classes it is able to predict correct or incorrect, right? So
Yeah.
basically, we are supposed to think about that. Okay,
So,
fine. So
so we can use the different accuracy measures like accuracy prediction, precision recall for those purpose.
but that is a accuracy matrices, right? I was talking about the error function. I was talking about the loss function actually. So there is a
Okay.
difference between accuracy
Yeah.
matrices and a loss
Yeah. Yeah.
function, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Precision recall, F1 score.
Yes.
So these are the things which I can use for finding out the accuracy of the
Accuracy.
equation,
Yes.
not as an error function. Hope this is
Yes.
clear, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so okay, fine. Just tell me what is your favorite algorithm. Just tell me about that algorithm.
Mm,
Machine learning, deep learning, whatever you
tough question.
like with your best.
Okay. So let's go with random forest.
Everyone goes with the random forest. I have seen.
It's okay. It's okay. Let him
We can
go.
also we can also go with the logistic regression, linear regression, or
Okay.
KNN,
So
Kinnear.
suppose if I'm a kid, right? So let's suppose I don't know, I'm just trying to learn this entire logistics or linear. Okay.
Yeah.
And someone is telling me that, okay, fine. So this logistic or linear, basically what it does is like in case of a regression, it will be able to give you some number. In case of, I'll say classification, if I'm going to use logistics, right? So it
Yeah.
will try to separate a certain classes. Fine.
Okay.
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 Now, so if you have to convince me, if you have to teach me that, okay, fine, so this is how prediction happens into a linear
Hmm.
linear regression, and this is how classification happens in case of a logistic. How you are going to explain this thing to me?
So your basic question
I
is
just have one idea. I just know about a couple of things like, okay, fine. So prediction forecasting, we can do it, right? So
okay.
prediction of forecasting is possible if I'm going to use
Hello.
or classification is a possible, right? But you
Hello.
have to convince me. You have to explain me maybe within 2 to 3 minutes, right? So what will be your approach in that case?
How does the prediction happen?
Yeah, basically how it is able to forecast something. So
Okay.
what
Yeah.
what it
So
does, what it does internally, by which it will be able to do give me some kind of a classes in case of logistics or in values in case of
yeah.
a regression.
Okay. So suppose we are working with univariate model. We have only one independent variable, independent variable, and sorry, one independent variable, and we want to predict whether it will be zero or one class. So binary classifier. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So in this case, mm, how prediction happens? Okay, so we will take it's starting from a equation. Suppose beta naught plus beta one x plus beta two x square.
I
Sorry,
think
beta.
I asked you to explain these things to a layman, right?
Okay,
To a beginner.
so okay,
Okay.
so we have certain. Suppose we have a feature. Uh, by a feature, I mean we have certain values. Suppose x1, x2, xn, x up to xn.
See, I'm looking for a story over here, right? I'm not looking for your mathematical equation. I'm not in a position to understand your mathematical equation.
Okay, so by prediction we mean what we have some used case in the previous time, and from the used case we know that if that situation happens, we have that output. If that situation happens, we have that output, and using those scenarios or those data points, we are predicting uh,
Are
something
you
which we,
convinced with your own answer?
not really.
Then how do you think that I will be like convinced and I will be able to understand it? Okay, fine. You said that like logistics, we can use a binary, we can use for binary classification, we can use logistics, right? Generally, it's been said that for a multi-class classification, we are not supposed to use logistics, although we can use it, right? So, but it's not an ideal, I'll say, algorithm. A logistic regression is not an ideal equation or ideal, I'll say, algorithm to use in case of a multi-class classification. For binary, that is fine. So why? And what is the reason behind that?
Actually, I haven't done any use case in multi-class classification. I am only familiar with binary classification.
Is it? Okay, so do you know that multi-class classification is possible with the help of logistic?
Yeah, it should be possible in end-to-end sequence. A course I did in December, January, and I think I have read about it that it can be used in multi-class classification.
Okay, so then my question was like, why it is said that you are not supposed to use logistics in case of multi-class? For binary, that is fine, but for multi, we are not supposed to use it.
Uh,
Any thoughts about it?
I think the output of the output in multi-class classification in logistic it's between probability 0 to 1, and suppose we have uh, suppose k classes or 3 classes, 4 classes, then I think the output will be 0.3 and 0.1 for each case, which it will
So
not give the better
in
sense.
logistic, have you heard of one versus all? OVR, one versus all, one versus rest. No? Okay, not a problem. Okay, so Danshu, I just have one question. Can I ask?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead. Yeah.
So one question, what I see in your project is that you have worked on finance, right? So I
Finance?
just, sorry, not finance. You have worked on some time series and forecasting. Just
Yeah.
tell me the type of train test split. How did you do the train test split in this kind of problem statement?
So basically, we can't use random splitting in time series. So we have
Mhm.
to take the for test case we have to take the last values. So that's the only possibility.
But why? Just tell me why. Why do you go ahead with that approach?
So suppose if we take random data points
No,
for
not
testing.
about random. I understood about
Yeah.
random.
Yeah.
About this, why do you take the last one as a test? Yeah. So okay, go ahead with what you're saying. Yes, go ahead.
So, okay. So I was saying, ki suppose okay, we can't use random observations because the data points of certain time will be missed, and we can't be able to predict the future, future data points. So that's why we take only the last data points, or we can also take the uh, so so the test cases we want the data for test cases should be in sequentially arranged. I think.
Why sequentially arranged? That only I'm asking. Why? Why sequentially arranged? You are telling right. Okay. Suppose I have data set from 1950 to 2020. Suppose from 1950 to 2000 I've taken as my training data set. Then 2020 to 2015 or 2020 I'm trying to take as a test data. But why? Why do we go in that way? Why not randomly?
Because then there will be missing values in the data, and we don't have any information like for in time series we take AR model, we whether see it is AR or MA. So what is the parameter? So we can't be able to relate whether the value of the given time will be related to the direct effect or the indirect effect of that previous time.
Hmm.
That information will be missed out.
Yes. So whenever you say this kind of answers, is that whatever technique you are using, right, with respect
Yeah.
to time series, let it be RNN or ARIMA model or SARIMAX, anything. What it requires sequences of data. So
Yeah.
suppose if you have your data, the training data set you have to consider as a sequences. You cannot just randomly pick up from where. Similarly, test data will be that. But now tell me, will there be too much impact if the data movement is too much with respect to time series? will you have a very big model impact?
Can you please repeat the question?
Suppose I have from 1950s to 1970s, I have some data. Okay.
Yeah.
Price of gold, suppose, or just forget about this year only, Jan to December, price of gold. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. Initially, it was very less, but suddenly it got a spike at one
Yeah.
point of time. Now, when
Yeah.
we are doing train test split for that particular kind of data, there will be a huge model impact,
Yeah.
because now here the sequence of data has a lot of variations.
Yes.
So how do you fix that part?
Sorry, I don't know.
Okay, not a problem. So I'm just seeing your resume. You have actually written, you have applied SMOT. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go with clustering algorithms. You have written K-means clustering.
Yeah.
How do you decide the number of clusters?
Actually, the data which I have working on was the solar flare prediction, where the zero class represents there will be no emission of solar flares, and one represents there will be emission of solar flares. So the class of zero will be
You
was in
already know
prediction.
there were two classes. You
Yes,
already know that.
yeah, because I'm considering it whether solar flare will be emitted or not.
Okay. So you are solving a supervised machine learning problem statement.
Yes,
Initially, you did a clustering and
yeah.
you know that, okay, it is belonging to two groups. This is what you have done actually.
So clustering I used as a technique to undersample the data.
Undersample the data.
Yeah,
What do you mean by undersample the data in that case? How did you undersample the data
like
with the help of clustering?
the one class the
If you
class of
okay, if you undersample the data, what is the disadvantage?
loss of information.
Then why did you do that?
So actually, the thing is that was my first project, and why I applied this is I have two options whether I go for oversampling the data. But if I go for oversampling the data, I had only 100 data points of one class, and if I suppose do this, it will increase the noise in the data. So I have read somewhere that it will be
Who
better
told
to
oversampling will increase the noise? Who told you that?
actually I used to read blog that time, and I read that if
What
we
does oversampling do? Just tell me, what does oversampling do?
it will increase the synthetic data points.
Synthetic data points. Why you are saying it as noise then?
So,
Noise is different. Synthetic data points is different.
okay. So that I read that instead of using only undersampling or oversampling, it will be better if you use both over little oversampling and little undersampling. That
What
thing
do
I
you mean? So you are saying that you have used SMOT technique for that, right?
yeah for oversampling.
Okay. Have you tried anything like class weights?
No.
What algorithm did you apply for that particular problem statement after clustering?
uh, for what?
See, you did clustering algorithm, right?
Yeah.
You said, which algorithm did you apply for supervised? I'm saying.
Uh, for training the model. For
You
training the
trained
model.
logistic regression,
Yeah,
right?
logistic. For training, I use logistic.
Logistic. Okay. Did you not try with any other algorithms? Are there any algorithms that will not get impacted by imbalanced data set? Not tell me this.
Imbalanced data. If we can go with hello,
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Sahil, we can hear you.
I think if I go with random forest, then as the random forest takes bootstrap samples, so it will be the case that the class of one class samples will not be included in the data. So there might be a case, I think.
Okay,
So that's why
Sahil. So, fine. I think let's talk about some of the scenario-based situation, right?
yeah,
So, as I can see in your resume that you are like a department placement coordinator, student placement officer, SPO, IIT Kanpur, right?
yeah,
This is what you have mentioned. So August 2020 ongoing. Yeah.
yes,
So
yes,
you have basically planned and executed a placement drive 2020 in a three-tier team of 1200 plus student. Yeah.
yeah,
So this is what you have mentioned. So basically you are a placement coordinator and you used to maintain, manage on,
yeah,
do all of those things. So I
yeah.
have a problem statement for you actually, right? Based on the same work that you used to do, right? So you are basically a placement coordinator. That is fine, but you are facing a challenges actually. So there are like many companies which used to visit your for sure like colleges, right? There are thousands of
Yes.
companies who used to visit your colleges, and every company is having their own like a set of the requirements. So some people are
Yeah.
looking for a candidate who is very good into a statistics, right? Some companies are looking for a candidate who is very good in the programming.
Okay.
Some companies are looking for like I'll say a candidate who is very good in terms of like a research paper or somewhat like that, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe a solution designing, and different like expectation they
Yes.
have basically,
Yes.
right? And as a placement coordinator, right, so you get stuck in between. So you get stuck in between a company and a student. So there are,
Yeah.
let's suppose like there are thousands and thousands of resume you have from one side, right?
Yeah.
You are the placement coordinator, and on other side, so there is a company,
Yeah.
right? So you have to map, or you have to align a correct resume to a company. So let's suppose like if I'm looking for a guy who is very good in terms of algorithm, a guy who is very good in terms of, and again inside the algorithm, so we have a different thing. Algorithm can belongs from a data science as well as data algorithm,
Yeah.
right?
It depends
So
on the
again
company.
we have a category, right? We have a two category, right? So your job is to provide, so your job is to build a system actually, right? Your job is to build a system, so where people will be able to upload a resume, right?
Mhm.
Everyone will be able to just dump their resume, right? So you can't give a pain to a student that okay fine, so like a create or fill a form. You can't ask those things, right? That is your problem
Okay.
statement. So student will be able to dump a resume. So we have a thousands of resume in a single drive. Okay,
Okay.
we have thousands of resume in a single drive, right?
Okay.
Now a problem with you is how you are going to align those thousands of resume to which company. You can't allow all the thousand like a resume, right? All the
Yeah.
thousand candidate to sit with one company.
So I have to select the resumes which is relevant to that company.
Relevant to the companies, like relevant to a company who is looking for a particular skill,
Yeah.
I'll say. So relevant
Yeah.
to the requirement. So company used to publish a JD, job description, right? Let's suppose, right, that I'm looking
Okay.
for this kind of a candidate, right?
Mhm.
So you have to map so that company will not have to waste even a single second of time, right,
Yeah.
to do a interview or to
Shortlist.
check a candidate who is not like a required for their particular requirement. Yeah.
Okay.
So how you are going to build this entire system?
So I think that is a problem of something NLP type with
No, no.
whether
Let's,
the
let's suppose, let's suppose you don't have a NLP. Let's suppose you just know machine learning, and maybe we just based on the machine learning you have to solve it. So how you will do it in that case?
okay.
Forget about NLP. I don't know about NLP solution. I
Okay,
don't
so
have
in
any idea.
this problem, we are mainly interested in selecting or extracting the resumes, and based on the information, by information, we are extracting those resumes and sending to the company.
Yeah, so we are doing something. We are trying to apply some kind of a machine learning technique, some kind of a maybe a statistical technique we are going to apply, right?
Yeah.
But I have to solve this problem just based out of machine learning or a statistical technique, because as you are the student of the statistics and as you just know machine learning, so you're not supposed to use anything else. No deep learning, nothing, no NLP, nothing you are supposed to
Just
use.
a clarifying question that uh, in this objective of the problem is to select the resumes.
Yeah, aligning a resume to a company's requirement.
Okay.
Aligning a resume, so that is a problem statement, right? And you have to design a system so that as a company, right, so if I'll come to your college, right, so I'll just go and write down my requirement. Okay fine, so I'm looking for this candidate, this candidate must be having this skill. I'll pull my resume. I'll be able to
Okay.
get
So
like a 5 to 10 resume.
so we can do one thing. Uh, as I'm thinking, so we can create features. Suppose there are requirement of suppose machine learning or something designer. They are separate words, or we can take it as a feature. And the information contained in the resume, I can take numbers. Suppose in first resume, it is about machine learning projects. So I can rate the feature. Suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 scale. Basically, 10 means they are more relevant to that specific thing, or 1 means they are very less relevant to that. So we can make features, suppose 10 features for 10 different profiles, and based on that we can use solve it using regression problem. So
No,
we
no, no,
can.
no. Again, you are going in wrong direction. See, as a company, I'll come to your college. I'll just give you a job description. Agree?
Okay.
Right? I'll
Yeah.
give you job descriptions. Now, let's try to simplify this problem statement even on a different level, right? So I'll just give you a JD, job descriptions, right? In that job descriptions, like whatever is my requirement, that requirement will be mentioned, right? From
Okay.
a company side. right? From a student side, right? From a student side, so you have a resume, and every resume, like all the stories are mentioned about the details about project and about the technical skill, everything is mentioned, right? Now tell me, like, how I'm going to interface. Let's suppose there is 10 company, right? There are 10 company and there are thousands resume, right? So how I'm going to distribute this 1,000 resume to this 10 company according to their requirement? Do you have any idea, any approach, anything that you can think of in real time?
So the previous solution I provided, that was wrong.
Yeah,
That process was
basically,
wrong.
like that will create a huge complexity, and you will not be able to align like a particular skill set with a particular like a requirement. This is what I think.
Okay. So so we can use classification problem where the output feature is the number of companies, suppose 10 companies, and the variable is a student, suppose data point is a student, and it will the output will be whether it will be in the first company, or it will go in the second company or third company, like that.
Okay. Do you think of, so how, like logically can you prove these things, that okay fine, so effectively at least with the 80% accuracy I will be able to, or even with the 50% accuracy I will be able to align those resume? What classification algorithm you are going to use, how you are going to classify a text which is available inside the resume, how you are going to understand a word which I have given you inside a job descriptions, how you are going to match both of these things, because these are the problems that is going to come into picture, right?
Yeah, and we are assuming that there is no case of NLP, right?
No, I'm like, I don't even know NLP, right? So how I can apply NLP? Simple. I just know statistics or machine learning.
Okay, so we can use decision tree, right? I think in this problem. And
Think.
so we
Take
so
time, 1 2 minute time.
okay, so first we can use decision tree, and in the first split we can split the data whether it will be core profile or non-core profile. Hello. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, good.
so,
good, good.
so first node will be whether it will not core profile or not core profile. Second split will be based on the broader category. Suppose uh, mm, analyst job type of data science job, or the hardware type job, something like that. And then we will reach to the leaf node something, and leaf node will be the company, so where the student will go from.
How you are going to first of all create a classes? Can you please explain me that particular part? Because you are talking about like a decision tree, and it's a classifier basically. It keep on like creating a branches based on the values that you have given, right? So how you are going to decide that particular part? Can you please explain?
Okay, so
Because I have
suppose,
just given you resume, I have not given you any kind of classes, so you have to work on your like a preparation part as well. So how, what do you think that how you're going to work on that part?
actually I'm confused, how can we extract the information from the JD?
It's fine. So let's suppose I've given you all those things in a word format, right? So simple, you can use a word reader and then you can just extract it. So, or else even if I've given you all the JD into a PDF format, so fine, there is a like a Python library which is available for the PDF reader, so you can read it and then extract all the information. So
Okay.
suppose you are able to extract it. This is the assumption. This is simple, like a part of programming, I'll say. So you will write a couple of line of code and then you will be able to extract it. Now what?
Now we can use in decision tree, we can use first feature, like suppose one feature is.
Where is a class? Where is a class? So do you think that like a thousand like a student's resume you are going to consider as 1,000 classes?
Okay.
Decision tree works, I agree with that, but where is the class? I have not given you the classes at all. I have just given you a dumper resume. You are able to extract all the information from the resume. Where is the class? You are saying that decision tree I'll apply. How?
Yes, so actually
Because
I'm
you're
stuck
a
in between.
placement coordinator, right? So you have to
Yeah.
solve this problem so that you can work effectively. You're not supposed to like run after students and a company again and again and again and again. You don't have to involve someone, just one system, and your problem is solved. This is what I'm looking for.
Okay. Okay, so one last solution I'll try.
Okay.
So suppose we are considering features first. Okay, for the data preparation.
Okay.
First feature is profile. As you say, as you said, I can extract the information. It is a core profile, non-core profile. So first feature is categorical variable, which contains two classes. First is core and non-core.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm trying to interpret your solution. Yeah.
yeah. So um, second feature contains another category, whether the person will whether it is a job of something hardware related or software related. The third feature will contain the information whether the classes, categorical variables like uh, whether it will be a data analyst, data scientist, or something like that. And use we can for those categorical variables we can use linear regression.
Okay, so this is it from my end. So hope you have enjoyed case
No,
studies, right?
no, no,
Think
Sudhanshu,
to
give the
it.
solution. Give the solution.
So let him think
Asking.
of, right. So he's a placement coordinator. So for sure he's even last time I have given the solution, right. So whatever question I've asked, I'll just try to talk about these things in the next session. So yeah, he's a placement coordinator, right? Let him think about it. Just in terms of machine learning, the restriction is you're not supposed to use NLP. You're not supposed to use deep learning. Anything else? Just a machine learning.
I
His
must say that is
solution.
a very interesting question.
Yeah, think through it. As you have already mentioned in your resume that you are a placement coordinator, so for sure you must have faced this problem and you have to solve it. Yeah, so fine, Chris. I'm just done. Yeah. So if you have
That
any
was
questions,
should I know that that part was right or not? The feature
that is
making of features.
one of the approach basically. So I'll say yeah, partially it was right. And again, if you can explain me the entire approach, then we can think through it. There can be like a 4 to 5 approach. It's not like there is only one approach that you were talking about, right? So yes, one of those approach I think you were trying to explain. So, because yeah, that is fine. So in this way also we can try to achieve some sort of, I'll say, like alignment of the resume.
Okay, so
Okay, Sahil, one question from my side. I think Sudhanshu, you told him to think about it, right?
Yeah. So he can think about it. So maybe in our next interview session,
Okay.
so I will be
yeah,
talking
sure.
about the solutions and
Okay, I'll ask one question to Sahil. Final question from my side, Sahil. You perform one hot. I see. I'll ask very simple questions. So don't you know?
Yeah,
So you have written in your resume. You have done one hot encoding to choose to change category features into numerical variables, right?
yes.
Using dummy. What if you have a category like pin code?
Okay.
How do you handle that?
So if I use one hot encoding in that feature, there will be so many classes, and
So
using those dummy variables will be bad.
then how do you solve that?
Can we use label encoding? I think we can use label encoding in that.
By default, it has label. No, pin code has a unique label only.
Yeah.
Have you faced this scenario, or did you think sometime? नहीं भाई ऐसा भी आ सकता है प्रॉब्लम. 3-4 कैटेगरी दिख दिया, वन हॉट एनकोडिंग बना दिया, करो खत्म हमारा काम. हाँ, लिख दिया है रिज्यूमे में, आई एम गेटिंग 89%, 92% एक्यूरेसी.
I have categorical features.
So many have people have written the right answer in the chat.
Oh,
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
सुधांशु भैया, जनता आंसर सुनना चाहती है रे. Come on, Sahil, think of it. Okay, just tell me, why do we convert category features into numerical features?
because our model is unable to interpret them because they are categories. Like linear regression is unable to interpret categorical features.
So if you make it as 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 1 0, then the model will be able to interpret.
If they are categories, then suppose they are two classes, then model will interpret.
Okay, like that you are thinking, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Think over the pin code thing. I'll give you 2 minutes. सुधांशु will be saying मजा आ रहा है सोचो सोचो एक और बार सोचो.
Pin code like we have 110041 something like that, right?
Suppose if I take in Bangalore, you'll be having 10,000 different pins based on location. Okay.
Can we use, suppose we have different pin codes for different cities, and can we use, if we have suppose cities which are nearby to each other, then we can cluster them and use as a single variable, something like that.
You are grouping them. them. I'm saying handling category features. You're grouping them. You're applying some clustering algorithm and you're doing some of the things, right? I told that how you're handling like this, right? By using dummy variables or like that. So how you're doing it. Again, I'm just checking your resume. I'll find some more things, right? Till then you answer this question. क्योंकि आपने ना, you have written in bold one hot improvement. So whenever you write like this in bold, no, that basically means you're good at the thing, right? And
I was prepared for that question, but not this question.
See, people are saying if you follow Krishna sir's video, you'll get the answer easily.
I follow, but it's around only 2 to 3 months.
Okay. So, okay, you're saying that you have built a neural network model also, right, to classify images?
Yeah, that Coursera project.
How did you decide like how many number of neural networks, how many number of layers and hidden neurons needs to be used?
If we use many neurons in a particular layer, it will overfit the data. So
now, how did you decide like how many number of layers or how many number of hidden neurons you have to use?
We can use parameter tuning. Suppose we can use different.
Which parameter tuning?
We can use k-fold cross validation, and suppose I am using k-fold cross validation, and for each.
Just a second. Why k-fold cross validation is used? Just tell me that.
Okay, so in k-fold cross validation, suppose I have k value of 10, and we have I am taking 10 different values of neurons in each layer.
In k-fold cross validation, what does cross validation basically say?
Hello.
Yeah, just are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
What is cross validation?
Cross validation is a resampling technique.
Then why you're saying that how you'll be able to select the number of neurons?
Actually, I'm saying if suppose I have 10 different type, I'm thinking that I have 10 different values and I want to check whether it will fit that, which will have the better accuracy.
Okay, how do you select that internal parameters, like how many number of layers, how many number of neurons? I'm not talking about input. Whenever you have your input data in cross validation, you'll be able to divide that into train and test split.
Yeah.
Based on k folds, k number of folds.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Why are you confusing?
Actually, I'm new in deep neural network things. That's why.
I see your resume. No, it is written so nicely.
I told you that was an online guided project. That's why I have not a complete understanding.
Okay. So, Anshu, you want to ask anything?
No, I think I'm done for today. Yeah. So maybe we can talk about the solutions. So Sahil, are you able to think of any kind of a solutions for the problem that I've given to you?
Okay. Just a minute.
Just a second. Before that, the number of layers you can use Keras tuner, both in ANN and both in CNN.
Keras tuner.
I think you have heard for the first time. If you are going with Coursera, you may have not heard. I don't know. Because we are using that in real world application. So Keras tuner is the answer for that. Okay. So with the help of Keras tuner, you can say that how many number of layers you can use, what should be the range of number of neurons in the hidden layer, and many things. Okay.
Yeah. So
coming back to your question. So now, are you able to think of some approach? Any approach to build that particular solution?
Okay, so I'll try. Yeah. So hello.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So so after that, I'll try to give my answer. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So first, can I assume that there are only 10 companies? Okay.
Yeah, you can assume 10 companies.
Okay, so I'm assuming there are only 10 companies, and I am here using decision tree.
Fine. Okay.
Okay. So first I am in first node. I am calculating suppose gain impurity to check the split to check whether to check the node which I prefer at the first place. And suppose the gain impurity says that I should prefer first node that says whether the profile is of core profile or non-core profile. Okay.
Okay.
Then likewise I will further going deep into that, and on the leaf node I will get the companies, so whether which resume, suppose I am inputting resume, and which resume fall into which company. So that,
Okay.
so is that correct?
But how, so generally in a decision tree, so on a
Yeah,
leaf node, so we used to keep our classes, right? This is what it used to do. So
yeah,
do you think that the resume which you are going to get, so in that label of the companies will be mentioned? So
yeah.
how do you think that
I
you are
am
going to
assuming
build a leaf
I am
node in that
assuming
case?
that the output will be name of the company, whether it is company A, company B, company C.
Okay, so in that case, you have to label first of all a data, right?
Yeah,
In decision tree, so let's suppose whenever you try to build a decision tree, so can I say that you will be having X as well as Y?
yeah.
Yeah. So where is your Y? So you're saying that now output will be Y. So at the time of like a training your model, so from where you will be able to get Y? So how you will be able to get Y at the time of testing of the model? Okay. So have you heard of like a distance-based approach?
No.
Distance. So maybe like Euclidean distance, Hamming
Yeah,
distance,
yeah.
such kind of a
Euclidean distance,
distances.
Manhattan distance.
So can you think of anything based on that?
Yeah, I have
So I
heard
have a
about the
resume.
Euclidean distance, and yeah,
I have a resume. I have a JD. So now can you think of like any of the like approach based on that?
based on what? Sorry,
Maybe
next connection
maybe
was.
maybe cosine similarity, Manhattan distance, Hamming distance, Euclidean distance, right? So can you please think of any of the approach? Okay. So what
Use
this
this.
distance? Yeah.
Sorry.
So what this distance does actually? So can I say that so it is possible to find out a distance between even a word or even a sentences? Agree?
Even, sorry.
Even a word or even a sentences. If I'll talk about a Hamming distance, what Hamming distance does? So can I say that Hamming distance will try to check a word similarity and then it will give you a binary result, one or zero?
Actually, I'm pretty familiar. I'm familiar with only Manhattan distance and Euclidean distance.
Okay, so just a numerical based distances. Yeah. So there
Yeah,
is something called as a Hamming distance. There is something called as a cosine similarities. There are many like a distance based approach that you will be able to find out even in statistics or even in machine learning, right? So
okay.
the only thing that you have to find out over here is, so first of all, whenever you are reading a data and then storing a data of a resume, this is one of the approach I'll tell you. There are, like I said, so there are 5 to 6 other approaches also. So clustering based approach, classification based approach, distance based approach, right? So there are many solutions that you will be able to design. So let me talk about one approach, which is a distance based approach. So here what you can do is, so first of all you can parse the entire resume, which is just a couple of line of code. You can take any language, right? So after that, so you can try to filter out, maybe you can try to filter out all the words which is going to occur again and again, right? So just you need some of the words. Maybe you can say that, okay, fine, so I'm removing a stop words and all the common words, all the punctuation and everything. I'm just trying to keep a word which is important, or maybe which is not repeating itself again and again, a kind of a unique word I'm trying to keep, right,
Yeah,
inside my resume again. So company has given you a JD, right? So whatever, so here is your resume, and from other side, so you are able to receive what? You are able to receive a JD, right? You will do a same thing for JD, right? So now you have a JD, right? And you have a different, I'll say a resume which you have already passed in your databases. So can I say that one JD versus all I will try to map?
yeah,
So one JD will try to find a distance with every resume, right? And for sure it will try to give you some sort of the distances at that point of a time. So whichever is giving you a lesser distance, so can I say that that particular resume content is closer to the JD, right? So now
yeah.
if your interview is asking you that, okay, fine, so this is the job description, now I'm looking for a 5 resume, right? So if your
Shortest
interview,
distance between five
yeah,
resume.
so first
First,
five you will try to select which is having a lesser distance, right? And then you will be, or maybe based on the probability, you will be able to do that. So similarly, cluster based approach is also possible, classification based approach is also possible to solve this particular problem, by which this again, I'm not talking about the accuracy of this particular one, right? So in terms of our distances, or maybe classification based, or maybe clustering based. But yeah, so these are the things which is possible mathematically, and you will be able to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
So fine, this is one of the like a possible answer, right? Now you can think of like a cluster based and classification based, but yeah, classification based answer that you were trying to give, right? So that is not correct.
Okay, Sahil,
Yeah.
coming to when you're good at something, never do it for free, right? You understand that? Okay. So, Sahil, we'll come to the feedback with
Yeah,
respect. See,
please.
I like your amount of knowledge that you have. Still, your basics needs to be much more strengthened because whatever things you have written in your resume, it will be revolving around that. Because whatever questions we asked you was based on your resume,
Yeah,
right? So when you're writing something with bold character, make sure that that surrounding topics needs to be covered well. Again, it's okay. Sometimes what happens is that yes, in interview they may ask you some more additional questions, but the thing was that you did good. Well, you try to handle some of the things. Yes, we forced you to take out the answer from your brain and come out. You know that all things should be in your tips of the lift, right? So yes, the interview was good. I'd suggest, but still your basics needs to get strengthened. And whatever things that you do, only write that thing which you are good at. Okay, which you are good at, try to write that thing over there. Okay, and whenever you are saying something about some machine learning algorithm, make sure that you learn about that machine learning algorithm properly, because when I told that logistic regression is used for multi-class classification or not, have you heard of OVR, one versus rest? So these all kind of examples are some of the common examples to test your mind. The interview will try to test you, and since you are a statistician related to statistics, more
true.
concepts will be asked to you. Okay.
And yeah, so think of like a solving, see, like everyone learns to like solve a problem of machine learning based on some kind of, I'll say, a toy data set, right?
Yeah.
Which is widely available across the internet, right?
Okay. Many
So,
people are asking about the pin code. Okay. So guys, pin code, you have various techniques like target mean encoding, mean encoding. So many people had written the right answer before. Just check my feature engineering playlist. Everything has been explained. Yes,
yeah.
sir. Sudhanshu, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, see what happens is like everyone, right? So whoever try to practice machine learning and they try to start a machine learning, so generally, they start with a toy data set. That is fine. That is a good start, I'll say. But unless and until you are not able to relate those things to a real world, right? So I'll say like your learning is not complete, and you will not be able to get a experience always. And again, so many people used to say that. I don't have a data set, right? If they can start thinking about a real world problem, right? You will be able to create a data set even by yourself. You don't need someone to give you a real time data set in many situations. I'm not talking about the core domain, right? I'm not talking about the core banking domain or some supply chain domain or maybe a retail domain, right? But there are many problems that you can think of in even in your real time, and for which you can generate even a real time data, and then you can try to utilize it. So I think that is our best way to learn, to design a solution, right? To think of, and again, that there will be like there can be a multiple n number of solutions. So always like try to learn in that way. Anyhow, like you're doing very good, right? So hoping for the best, and yeah, so for sure, you will be able to do better in your like near future. Yeah. So yeah, this is it from my side, and
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for coming to this platform, and
Same
see you
pleasure.
again. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
So one last thing,
Yeah,
just a second. One last thing. Keep on going on with this. You're still in your final year. You have
yeah,
a lot of chances. Make your basics strong, and yes, we can have one more interview after 1 month. Just drop me a mail again.
yeah,
You have my number also, so you can message me at any point of time. And then what we'll do is that we'll try to conduct after 1 month again interview. At that time, whatever things you write in your resume, based on that, will revolve around the question, and let's see the difference. Okay. Now, for every interview that we take, first we'll take the first round and probably the next round in after 1 month. Then you try to see that how much improvement is there in you, and that will also make you satisfied. Okay. So thank you, Sahil.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
Sudhanshu,
yes,
our wonderful host.
you.
Guys, please, Sudhanshu OP should be there in message. Everybody, Sudhanshu OP, Sudhanshu OP, Sudhanshu OP. Again, a wonderful
And
host. We'll be
last
asking,
time Chris told me about the meaning of OP. Yes, and now I know like what is the full form of OP.
or Sahil, please share my channel in all your college.
yeah,
Okay,
sure.
so tell
You
them
are
it's
getting comments
you.
from them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you are getting comments right now. Okay. So thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sudhanshu. And